imperative and very, very important that, as I said earlier, that the Glens try and get themselves a result tonight.
Important that they try to make a fast start as well. They have a free kick. Marcus Kane, the captain, is over this one. Khan and McLean have both gone forward. Deep free kick. Two Faroese defenders try to attack the same ball, and the attempted overhead kick by Paul O'Neill goes behind. Paul O'Neill, who of course scored a goal in that Irish Cup final, scored the opener, and then it was that man Robbie McDaid who popped up with the winner. He's going to be important tonight, isn't he, as ever, Robbie McDaid?
The thing that impresses me about Robbie is his movement. He does not give centre-halves any time at all. You know, he's constantly harrying and trying to close down and take them into places that they don't want to go. And the last 18 months he's proved to be a really, really big player for Glentoran, and the Glentoran fans have taken them to their hearts. And you know, he produced the magic moment in the Irish Cup final, and we'll be looking for something similar tonight.
And the referee, who has to stop the play because he was struck by the ball, doesn't matter who gets possession, and he'll just drop it at his feet for an uncontested drop ball. One of the things that we've been getting used to over the course of the last year or so since that rule was changed. It gives us a chance to introduce tonight's referee, Lucas Fandrick. He's from Switzerland. It's the first time he's taken charge of a Europa League or Champions League game at any round. He's been a fourth official on numerous occasions, but he's the man in charge tonight for the first time. Don't be surprised if you see cards. 11 games in 2020, 64 yellow cards and 4 reds. Oof, just get the warning in early. Corner kick for the visitors. And in terms of whether they have a physical presence or not, we'll maybe see that now if the delivery is in any way good from Daniel Johansson. First real test for the Glentoran goalkeeper making his debut, perhaps. Dale Coling certainly has a bit of a physical presence about him, doesn't he? It's a terrible delivery. He might get a second go at it.
You see, Joe, they're crowding the 6-yard box, and how many players is in that? So they're just looking to use the wind, get it in that area, and try and cause problems.
Take 2 from Johansson. It's not much better, really. Marcus Kane was able to deal with it pretty comfortably. And Johansson gets the ball back. Thought for a second he might win a free kick, but the Swiss referee happy that wasn't a foul. Tend to dominate possession from what we're told. HB in terms of league games and domestic matches. I have to say I'm no expert on the standard of the Faroese League, no. But if you're comfortable on the ball as a player, Scott, then you're comfortable on the ball. And
there's a few players, Joe, actually I mentioned to you in the warm-up. Soilu, number 8, Middle Park. He looked very, very, very comfortable.
It's a lovely little flick, and the real danger man, Michael Dahl, was the target for that. Just couldn't quite find him. You can already see they're quite happy to pop it around midfield, and Pettersson was just trying to link up with Dahl. Cast your mind back just over a year. They worked Linfield hard, this team. Linfield came through 3-2 on aggregate. A 1-0 win at home and a 2-2 draw away from home. Andy Waterworth scored all 3 of the goals. Just getting a sense there, if you were watching just in that corner, the conditions, it's a tradition, isn't it, at the Oval, that corner of the ground, any sort of heavy rain, any bad weather, it's always vulnerable.
The whole left-hand side, as soon as there's a bit of rain, it causes issues. But I think tonight, Joe, that because the Glens are playing a team from the Faroe Islands, this is a really difficult game. And you mentioned that Linfield did push them hard last season, and obviously Linfield got through. But the Glens just need to try and ease themselves into the game. Tórshavn, they're right up to match fitness.
17 games into their league season.
That's a big thing.
15 wins, 1 draw, 1 defeat.
It's a big thing. So any viewers who are watching the game and listening, they are well up to pace, whereas the Glens aren't. I think there's like Kayla Marin, Bigerimana, Sean and Clucas, who maybe the last time they played was maybe January, February of this year. So a long time without football. But they just need to ease themselves into the game. Try and get as many touches as possible, as many passing and get confidence, and gradually as the game goes on, come more and more into it. But you can see early doors that Tórshavn, they're comfortable on the ball. They want the ball. They're asking a few questions straight away. They're taking the game to Glentoran.
Marcus Keane has, it seems, taken a bang to the side of his head. Is he suggesting an elbow? Referee's gone for his pocket. Fourth official is on the touchline. He's speaking to Jens Bertel, the manager of Tórshavn, and
he did mention it, Joe.
I think he's pleading the innocence of his player, but after 6 minutes and 19 seconds, we have the first yellow card of the game.
That's the thing about Europe, you have to be extra cute.
Ultra disciplined.
Absolutely.
Kane clips it in. Good header down and away by Tshembe. Biggie Romana sweeps it out towards Kane, the captain. Seems to be okay, didn't need any treatment. Again, the ball just stops in the surface water. Gallagher can't find a way through. Can't splash his way through the puddles. Could embarrass you, that couldn't it, very quickly. Ultra caution if you're defending that penalty area, I think, Scott. Get it as far away as possible, and don't be trying to pass your way out.
From our vantage point, you can't actually see how bad it is, and yeah, as the game goes on, and if the weather conditions are to take a turn for the worse, it's going to be really difficult to manage that side of the pitch. But it's typical Northern Irish summer, Joe. August and the weather.
It is, yeah. It's a really good advert for summer football, isn't it? Last 6 weeks, apart from last week, we got one good week out of about the last 6. Rory Donnelly just throwing the ball back to Marcus Keane. 286th appearance tonight for Keane, and such an emotional time when he was lifting that Irish Cup for the reasons that many of you will be familiar with. It's been a tough time personally for Marcus over the last number of months. That's a terrible header, and Tshembe manages to make up for his own mistake, but almost presenting the ball to Rory Donnelly and giving him a chance to get a shot away, but he got close enough to make Donnelly think twice about that and was able to tidy things up at the expense of a throw-in. Tshembe should be able to head away. He does. Biggie Romana tries to poke it back into the penalty area. Tidied up by Cowan. Didn't want to head that back to the goalkeeper, did he? Donnelly will get a second chance maybe if he can escape the puddles. And the ball just dies, as you can see, as soon as it lands in any particular part of that almost quarter of the pitch. Lucas hoping for a runner, and the willing runner was Paul O'Neill. Bumped into the goalkeeper. He gets a free kick, and
the Glens are starting to ease themselves into the game, but I'd like to see Biggie Romana get on the ball. 2 or 3 passes. Keep control.
I mean, he's an experienced player, to be fair. He's been around. 13 Premier League appearances, I think it was, for Newcastle as a teenager.
Yep.
He 10 or 12 Europa League appearances, I think, when he was at Newcastle during his early time.
He was at Hibs, he was at Motherwell.
Yeah, he's 26 now. 8 caps for Burundi. It could be one of these sort of diamonds that McDermott discovers. Everybody be hoping he's another Horvoy Plum.
Yeah, I hope so. Horvoy Plum has, probably the best dead ball expert that I've seen in my time in the Irish League. Major loss.
You can talk about the lift that Glentoran fans got by seeing the Irish Cup being won, seeing a photograph of Horvoy Plum being back in Belfast and on the road to recovery. Nearly gives them as much of a lift.
It's massive.
Takes it, and that's going to be another corner, I think.
Yep. I think Tórshavn, they have a slight wind advantage, I think. although looking at the 4 corner flags, they're blown in every direction.
It's nowhere near as bad, though, Scott, as it was earlier. I have to say, at one stage, I thought the roof was going to blow off my house this afternoon.
At one stage, there was a concern the game might not go ahead.
Thankfully, it's nowhere near as bad as what it was. Again, look at that 6-yard box. It's absolutely packed. Yet again, the delivery's poor. Now, I'm assuming, Scott, that if you're going to put that number of players in the 6-yard box, you want to put it into an area where, you know, the goalkeeper, under normal circumstances, we try to come and claim it, but because it's so packed, he can't get out, and there's a degree of confusion. Not beating the first man at the near post is not the desired corner that you want to take under those circumstances.
Ask how the Tórshavn manager, he'll be going crazy. You know, it's 3 corner kicks, 3 good opportunities. They've packed the area, you know, and maybe to get around Dale Colleen and ask questions of him. And the 3 deliveries have been very, very poor. You know, unfortunate for Glentoran, because if those deliveries are half decent, that's asking questions.
Of course, the winners will play Motherwell next week in the next round. This is a one-off tie. Don't have home and away ties this year because of this situation with the COVID-19 pandemic. So it's a one-off game. Home advantage for Glentoran, which of course is huge. There will be home advantage for Motherwell in the next round, and I'm told that Stephen Robinson, the manager, he was hoping to get to the game, but he couldn't find a way getting here and making sure that he was training in time tomorrow morning. So with the league season underway, he's decided to watch the game at home and listen to us instead, Scott.
So Robbo's listening to us.
Apparently he is. He's probably turned the sound down already.
That's you know, the unfortunate thing, Joe, like, you know, going back to, you know, when I was manager and we beat the Macedonian team, the atmosphere that night in the Oval was just phenomenal. And it's unfortunate there is no fans here tonight, and if the Glens are fortunate enough, the crowd that they would have taken to Motherwell to have seen would have been phenomenal. But we're in strange and difficult circumstances at this moment in time, and players and clubs alike just have to go on with the circumstances that we're in.
There's Bigger Romana, who managed to find the feet of Paul O'Neill. He was fouled, so another free kick. Some season for Motherwell last year, wasn't it?
It was indeed. Robbo's he's done a phenomenal job there. I watched them against Hibs at the weekend, and they were back to the Motherwell that Stephen knows. They played very, very well. Should have won the game.
He was a bit grumpy after some of the earlier matches this season.
Yeah, he was.
And he tries to tell you he's never grumpy. But Stephen Craigan always tells him the truth. Bigger Romana couldn't cut that one out. That's an important intervention by Caelan Marin. Needed to get there first and did. Again, it's Faroese who happy just to try and keep possession. But it was an adventurous crossfield pass, and the captain was always under pressure there. Davidson.
There's nothing here, you know, Joe, in the first 15 minutes to make you sit up and go, oh, this is a really good side we're playing against. Obviously, they're a decent side, but nothing there to you know, so far to overly scare you. I was impressed, you know, in the warm-up with some of their techniques, but doing it in the warm-up and doing it in the actual 90 minutes is a different kettle of fish. But the Glens just need, you know, just ease themselves into this game. I do think that Tórshavn do have a bit of the wind advantage.
Again, made good progress, but on the edge of the penalty area, Glentoran standing firm. Marin again is able to clear, doesn't put it into touch. Christensen being dispossessed from the scattering of officials and those who have been allowed into the ground tonight. Not too many. Look at the board members and some of those who have travelled with Tórshavn, the odd UEFA delegate, referees, observer, us, and a couple of cameramen, but it's not a lot of people about here. Would you say in total, Scott, 100 people, including players and staff on the ground, I would say, and at a push?
And you know, that's the difficult, because of the Irish Cup win and the momentum that brings. And obviously with UEFA games you're only allowed seating capacity, but every single seat would have been taken normally and generating an unbelievable atmosphere. And that's the thing that the players from both sides miss out on. Watching the Europa League and the Champions League quarter-finals, semi-finals, it's just missing, the vital ingredient that is the fans, which, if you don't have the fans, you have nothing in football.
Your mate Soilu there, just overhitting his pass, but he was the one that caught your eye during that warm-up. His touches and technique. And here's it's like Dade, who they just can't get into the game at the moment. That wee
opportunity there where Donnelly's on the ball and just a wee simple pass to McDade, he overhits it. They just need to get themselves 4 or 5 passes and keep control of the ball. And I keep saying ease themselves into the game, but I don't think the Glens have maybe played more than 3 or 4 passes at this moment in time.
Well, one back by Kane. Good work by him. Hopefully that will hit a puddle. No.
See, like that there, Joe. Paul. Marcus has done well. He's played it inside to Paul O'Neill. Just play it into the feet, and we play from there. And
play it into a puddle, Scott. That's what he needed to do. It's the only chance Marcus Kane would have had.
But that's what it needs to be, a wee bit better.
Hooked forward by Jakobsen. Another touch by Kane. It's a bit loose. Glentoran presented with the ball once more.
Excellent.
Bigger Romana it was with that forward pass to Donnelly. Donnelly gets it back almost from O'Neill. Jakobsen again. Hopes for the easier pass to Davidson, the captain. To Shembe. Just tempting McDade. He actually sort of patted McDade on the back as if to say, you were interested in that, weren't you?
You done well.
Christensen, as Davidson making good progress here in a wide position. What's the cross like? Not great. I think that's gone for a goal kick.
So there's the difference, Joe. There's, Tórshavn plays 8 or 9 passes, gets further up the field, gets a cross in, and obviously the header goes out for a bike kick. But that's good. That's good play. And that's what Glentoran need to do. Beginner manner. You tried it there, then we give the ball away. We need to keep a hold of the ball, especially when it goes up top. Take a bit of pressure off the back 4. But hopefully it'll come. To be fair to these players as well, some of them, as I mentioned earlier, Klukas hasn't played since February. Beginner manner, the exact same. Caelan Marin. It's difficult. We're in August. We're nearly into September. And nothing can prepare you. You can do all the training, play all the pre-season games you can. Nothing prepares you to the real thing. And that's where Tórshavn have that advantage, where they're well into the league campaign. And obviously doing very well, Joe, in the league campaign,
the season started in May, a couple of months later than usual. HB on this winning run. They've won their last 8 league games in a row. They're 5 points clear at the top of the table. And, it's... People talk about it a lot, the difference between saying you're fit and saying you're match fit. Having those games under your belt has to count for something. But so far, it's been a game with very few chances, if any.
It's not. It's been cagey.
They all know how much is at stake here as well, and the fact that for both sets of players, it's a big deal. You're going to play one of the top teams from the Scottish top division from last season. I read... What an incentive.
I read Mick saying that, he hasn't even thought of it Motherwell and looked at it, and I get where he's coming from, because obviously you just got to try and take care of business tonight. But, as Glentoran players, what an incentive to go and play against an SPL team and try and put your wits, against them. But, they have to try and take care of business tonight and get that all-important result.
Shembe was the man who cleared the danger. McLean was the one that knocked it back into the HB half. And there's too much on that pass, I think, from Dahl. Just about crosses the line. Marcus Kane will take the throw-in. There's the referee and assistant not quite sure what to do, and it's good that they both end up going the same way, isn't it? It's more convincing, even though that it was probably a guess.
But even here, you'd like to see Marcus, back to Paddy McLean, switch it across to Caelan Marin. As I say, maybe there's a wee,
you kind of saw worst possible scenario coming there as Biggie Romana went flying in, and the Faroese player had his boot raised, but Biggie Romana just about put the brakes on at the right time, and to be fair to the defender, I think he kind of moved his boot out of the way. It was one of those ones that you saw coming, and I thought it was going to be nasty, but thankfully in the end that wasn't the case. Biggie Romana later giving away a free kick.
And could have been another situation. Our friend the referee would have been happy to produce a card.
Marin in at right back, of course he was cup tied. Elvio van Overbeek was in there for the cup games. He's departed, and Marin now a chance to establish himself, another one of those players that arrived during the course of last season. Difficult when you arrive halfway through a season, but the likes of him and Andy Mitchell, Clucas, they're all going to want to try and establish themselves, and Rory Donnelly of course as well.
There's been huge changes at the football club, and as we keep repeating ourselves, difficult circumstances.
And signed for a reason, Scott. Signed on the basis of performances at their previous clubs. I mean, they're all good players.
They are good players. And listen, Mick and Paul want to take Glentoran to the next level. One of the first things that Mick said when we won the Irish Cup.
So Coling might have to come for this. That's an acrobatic attempt at the back post by Jakobsen.
Yeah. One of the first things he said when we won the Irish Cup was, this is just the start. And they went out and signed Luke McCulloch, an international player who, yes, he's had his time with injuries, but was in the last Euro squad with Northern Ireland. Jamie McDonough was a good player from Derry City. So I do think that the Glentoran do mean business, but that is for the future. This is the now, and they need to try and get a result here tonight. It won't be the end of the world if they don't get a result, but it will be a big blow. Make no mistake, it will be a big blow, because if somebody had said to you before the season started that you're going to draw a team from the Faroe Islands, and that is an opportunity to get whatever hundreds of thousands in the bank, you would have snapped their hand off for that. So,
and you add the words to that, at home.
So it's big, and the players, the players haven't stamped the authority on the game as yet, and there's maybe circumstances for that. It's the first real game of the season. Haven't had an opportunity, apart from the Irish Cup semi-final and the final, to play games. And yeah, Joe, you mentioned it earlier. Do the players realise what's at stake? Of course they do. Of course they do. It's just a different world that we live in, Irish League-wise, where the financial rewards are really lucrative. So they know what's at stake. But I'm just looking for somebody to grab the game by the scruff of the neck, take control, put their foot on it, and make things happen. We'll still to see that. Hopefully, as the game progresses, we will see that.
There was another little opportunity on the far side for Glentoran to try and work something. They've had to settle for a throw-in. Again, it was Rory Donnelly who was trying to get involved. Here's Biggie Romana. Might want to get this back again from Clucas, but goes wide instead. Biggie Romana trying to help it in towards Donnelly. And Donnelly just trying to nudge it around the defender. So good covering. Prevented that from happening. Wardham able to clear the danger.
Also, to be fair to the players, Joe, the weather conditions, they're not the best.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Scott, because it's just started to rain again.
Yeah, the August and
the notes could
they could blow.
They could blow at some stage.
August in East Belfast, Northern Ireland, it's usually sunshine and enjoying a European game, but these are different circumstances. Maybe this weather conditions suits Tórshavn better than it does Glentoran.
We should say as well, a reminder tonight that we are covering both games involving Irish League sides in the Europa League. So you can flick between this one and the game involving Coleraine. That's a 7:30 kickoff, I do believe, at the Showgrounds. And we should remind you, of course, that both of these games will be played to a finish. So extra time and penalties, if required, for both of these matches. Clucas into the far corner. Donnelly can't quite keep possession. McLean. Bounce of the ball might favour Donnelly here, but well tidied up by Johansson. Pedersen has seen a lot of the ball out on that far side. It was his cross that found Jakobsen when he tried the overhead kick. But they sort of play on either side of Mikael Dahl. It's the central player, the Danish forward who we were telling you about at the start of the game, has scored the 7 goals in 5 games. Anytime they have had some decent possession, they do look reasonably comfortable on the ball. Those front three. It's a chase that I don't think that man Pedersen was ever going to win. Paddy McLean's not happy. He's looking for a little bit more, I think, from his front players.
And he's right. He's right to be, you know, because Tórshavn do look comfortable on the ball without overly hurting Glentoran. I mean, apart from the 3 corner kicks where they had a decent chance they crowded the box, you know, they haven't cut Glentoran open. They had one cross really. The boy, you know, like an acrobatic overhead kick which failed to come off. But there's nothing there, Joe, to overly worry me to go, this is a top side. So Glentoran a wee bit of belief, get themselves on the ball, make things happen, players stand up and be counted, and Paddy McLean is quite right to be, you know, having a pop at 1 or 2 players.
Kane, deep cross, that's going to be a free kick. Donnelly must have been climbing on the defender in the opinion of the Swiss referee. It is Glentoran's 50th European game at the Oval by the way, tonight, Scott. 50? Yeah, 50th at the Oval. And they're 99th in total across all UEFA competitions. So if you were going to mark the century, Motherwell would be a nice way to do it, wouldn't it?
Motherwell, yeah. 50 home games. I know that, you know, the last 20, 30 years, you know, our record at home has not been good.
Decent kick to the goalkeeper. It should go all the way through to Coling at the other end.
There was a lot of good sides, Joe, as well, that we'd played in Europe. I remember playing against Wisla Krakow. You know, they were a really good side. But as you mentioned earlier, before my time, I mean, Marseille came here the year that they won it.
Well, what a Marseille team that was. I mean, that's a terrible kick by Coling. Biggie Romana happy just to hook that forward. I remember, you know, you watch back, there are highlights on YouTube, and I remember watching back those highlights of the game here when Marseille won 5-0. That squad, I mean, Fabien Barthez was a young reserve goalkeeper at that stage.
Yep.
Desailly, Basil Boli, Didier Deschamps, Alan Boksic, Rudy Voller was in that squad.
Abedi Pele,
Dragan Stojkovic. I mean, that was
Martin Vasquez,
an
Spain.
Unbelievable team. And then you go way back. We mentioned it at the start, but you know, Eusebio scored I think it was an 86th minute equaliser here in 1967. They drew 1-1. The away game was 0-0. Glentoran lost to Benfica on away goals, and Benfica went all the way to the final where they lost to Manchester United. Now, it's an important intervention by McLean. Referee doesn't like that challenge, and he's booked him.
In Irish League, we're saying that's actually a decent challenge, but you know, Swiss referee. Anytime I played in Europe, and the referees, it's just a different world. You know, the slightest touch, players are going down.
That force of challenge in Europe, just they won't stand for it.
They won't stand for it. The force of the challenge, and obviously he's saying that his studs were raised, and he's booked him.
Johansson tries to clip it into the danger area. Maybe thought it was just too far out to have a pop at goal, and that's a waste, really, isn't it, Scott?
You're thinking, why not have the shot? You know, you've got the wind, test the goalkeeper, slippery conditions. But then again, Joe, it's easy from up here.
It is.
You know, it's those players out on the pitch who have to make it happen.
Johansson again. There's Donnelly just slips, gives Johansson that extra little bit of space. There's Hansen. Actually hit Pedersen on the back of the head, and then the puddles again playing their part, this time at the opposite end, and the assistant referee comes to the rescue of Kane. But
as the weather gets worse, that whole side of the pitch,
it's going to be a problem.
Well, it's think the players should try and do their best to keep it out of there.
Marcus Keane thinks this is fine, I can just pass my way around the defender, and all of a sudden the ball stops, nearly falls over it. But thankfully the whistle came to his aid. Could be a factor, Scott, at some point. 0-0, half an hour, 20 minutes to go. Ball stops in a puddle, somebody makes a mistake, and you hope that isn't how this game is settled, but you would be in the least bit surprised. Clucas. It's a mishit shot.
Rory Donnelly done excellent there with the lay off his head, but a minute before that we saw him slipping, going to try and close down. And as we should be talking about August, the European game in August at the Oval, and we're talking about the weather conditions playing such a pivotal part of this game, and hopefully it's not going to lead to an error on somebody's part that's going to lead to a win for one of the teams. But you know what, Joe? See, also it's the same for both teams. And both teams have to adapt to the conditions. And not that they are moaning about it, but they just need to get on with it. There is so much at stake. Get on with it and try and get ourselves in front here and kick on. But I think the Glens will be looking to get to half time, and then if we do have that wind advantage the second half, making better use of it, because they've huffed and puffed here in the first half. I would love to be saying that we've played really well and we're getting the ball down, and it's 5, 6, 7 passes, we're getting to the byline, we're putting crosses in, and we're asking questions. So far there's been no questions asked of Tórshavn, and that will be the disappointing thing for Mick and Wendy, that we haven't tested them, we haven't asked any questions. We're at home, take the game to them.
The foul was on Mikkel Dahl, not hanging around. Johansson again trying to get the ball forward into a good area, but Jakobsen was under too much pressure. Getson well out of his penalty area. He's played in all 17 games this season, the goalkeeper, 9 clean sheets.
Yeah, and if you notice, Joe, the first thing he's looking to do is to play a pass. He wasn't looking to kick it down the park.
The other goalkeeper, the backup goalkeeper, actually, Jakob Højgaard, he picked up an injury, so they needed an emergency loan signing for a reserve goalkeeper. So they'll be very much hoping that Dieter Getson doesn't pick up an injury or get himself sent off.
Yep.
Dahl tries to play that 1-2 again, and Jakobsen maybe over ambitious with the thought of trying to get it back to Dahl. She thought at one stage maybe Jakobsen would just try to shift it and have the shot himself. But
I mean, that's the thing, Joe. Nobody's asking questions regarding the goalkeepers, and especially Tórshavn towards the Glentoran goal. With that bit of a wind advantage and having a pop.
I know what you're saying, Scott, about you'd have had a look maybe at Tórshavn and thought to yourself, well, there's not a lot there to worry me. If you're Tórshavn coming to Belfast and you're thinking to yourself, right, well, we'll get a look at this after half an hour and see what happens, you're thinking to yourself, I can't believe how comfortable we are.
They will be saying the same, and Askew, the Tórshavn coach, if it remains like this, going in at half time, he will be saying, guys, this is there for us. And that's where you look at the way the League of Ireland have played a summer league, and obviously this year apart COVID-19, but normally they're getting into a situation where they're up to match speed. They've played so many games under their belt, just like Tórshavn have, and this is always the thing for Northern Irish clubs. It's really difficult. We're not up to speed, and I have to say, I thought that the performance that Linfield put on their night against Legia Warsaw, if Linfield kept 11 players on the pitch, I didn't see Legia Warsaw scoring a goal. And that's why, they acquitted themselves really, really well. They'll go into the Europa. If we can get ourselves a result here tonight, if Coleraine can get a result, it helps the coefficiency rankings for Northern Ireland clubs going forward. But, you have that other side of it, that the players are not up to match speed. We haven't been playing games, and it's a big ask.
Donnelly presented with possession. Might be something here for Glentoran, and he's pointing to where he wants the pass played. He's now explaining to Clucas why he should have played it to him, but I think McDade was maybe the intended target, but the pass was well overhit, and that's another disappointment.
And young Gallagher's better than that. He can get on the ball and he can make things happen, and this is where I look from afar and I say, who wants it? who wants to make a name for themselves? You know, they know that this game is being streamed live, and they know it's on TV, and it's a good platform. Who's grabbing the game by the scruff of the neck and wants to try and get on the ball? And you know, listen, you can't fault Glentoran's work rate and their effort, because they're working hard for each other. You know, they're keeping their shape. You know, Paddy McLean is organising them well. Same with Keith Cowan at the back. We're not being overly troubled. And that's when I'm hoping the second half, with the wind conditions, that Glentoran can get on the ball and make things happen. And hopefully that will come.
Johansson to Hansen, and then all the way back to Getson. Wardham being put under pressure. Getson just had a little moment. Wasn't the best pass back to him. Managed to deal with it though.
Conditions are playing a part.
Yeah. Bad mistake there by Maron, and all of a sudden visitors have a throw in.
But even there, Soilu, he's able to go on the ball, he's able to turn, he's able to play a pass, he's able to get on it again. Nobody near him.
Just tries to lift it in towards the edge of the box. Christensen was the intended target, couldn't quite reach it. Johansson again gives it back, and they'll start all over again. Soilu. That's a nice pass to the outside of the right foot from Wardham. Well cut out by Keane. That'll be a free kick, I think. An easy one for the referee.
I think Mick's in trouble. He's asking for a player to get booked. Yeah, don't do that again. They don't like that.
No.
The foreign officials.
Well, it's not even that. I think was there. I was watching the game. I've watched so many games, Europa League and Champions League over the last number of nights. But there was an occasion where, I don't think it was the Bayern Munich. It might have been the PSG game the other night, where the player asked for the referee to book someone for a foul, and he did book the player for the foul, and then booked him for, you know, giving it the old wave of the hand and asking for the booking. So it ended up they both got cautioned. I think that's one thing that we'll maybe see now going forward. Officials will be told if there's any of that kind of waving of the fingers asking for a player to be cautioned, that player will be booked.
Yeah, they don't like it. It's been a bit scrappy, you know, and
it's not a classic.
No, it's not. The viewers probably a wee bit disappointed, but you know, the Glentoran fans watching this would just be hoping that they.
Well, let's be honest, they were disappointed when they heard that we were the commentary team, Scott. So
maybe yourself, Joe. They weren't disappointed.
Just more disappointed. Here's Kane, who clips that one for O'Neill.
Good ball. That's better. Good ball with Marcus.
Chance maybe for a final 5-minute flourish at the end of this first period for the home side.
He's as well as putting it in there, because the ball, if the plate is short, it's going to get stuck in the water.
Kane doesn't look as if it's going to go long at the minute now. Perhaps he's changed his mind. It's looking like the longer run-up. We don't get the flick at the near post. Biggie Romana couldn't stretch and win it on its way back out again. Second attempt to put the ball into the box, and this time the cross was taken away from Donnelly. It's a heavy touch from Klukas, and the ball goes out of play for a Tórshavn throw.
He does like to try and get on the ball, Soilu.
McLean should tidy this one up. McLean and Cowan were magnificent in the two Irish Cup games, weren't they, Scott?
Yeah.
Bar the own goal, which he couldn't really do a lot about, McLean, but outside of that, the two centre halves were superb. Kane's been turned there, and I think the puddle actually came to his aid, and now he wins another free kick.
You know, so far in his short time at Glentoran, you know, I have to say Paddy McLean has been excellent. I think maybe Joe, he needed a club, you know, that you know, kind of took to him liked the way he played, and the fans have certainly got behind him, and from what I believe, he enjoys his football here, which is great to see. But listen, be all and end all, he's a very good player, and he's been a big asset to Glentoran.
Donnelly lifts it in towards McDade. First time effort, brilliant. First time they've linked up. First chance for Robbie McDade, and it's a magnificent finish.
Excellent finish. Cup
final hero, and he opens the scoring tonight at the Oval just before half time.
And a lovely wee flick. Was it with Donnelly? Donnelly's head, and great vision, and McDade's composure. Fantastic. Great to see, and hopefully that will settle the nerves a wee bit.
It's a lovely little touch with Donnelly's right foot. I have a monitor and I can see it here, Scott. I know you can't there, but just lifts it through. It's the weight of the little touch through, and McDade can just think about the sweetness of the finish, and he makes a real good contact with it. And that's 47 goals now in 108 games for Glentoran, and he's up and running for the new season already.
Brilliant, great to see. Great composure. Credit to Donnelly. Lovely wee flick as well. I was actually about to say, Joe, that we need to try and get McDade into the game, because we weren't really getting him on the ball. And it just shows you, if you get him the service, that's what will happen.
But it's the first time they've linked up. It's the first chance McDade has had, and it's the opening goal of the evening. And it's 39 years. Robbie McDade making his debut 39 years after his dad John played in the 2-1 win here against CSKA Sofia, and they're keeping it in the family, eh?
Brilliant. It's the first bit of quality that Glentoran has produced, and it's culminated in a lovely finish.
There's two Glentoran legends scored that night, Jim Cleary and Ron Manley. That 2-1 win.
That was two legends.
Glentoran have a bit of defending to do here. They'll not want to concede so soon after the goal. It's missed at the near post by, was it McDade? I think he was back defending, and he missed the ball.
It was another poor delivery.
It was.
It's four set pieces like that, 4 corner kicks.
He's immediately apologising as McDade, but we'll get a look at what he was doing at the opposite end, I think, in a moment or two. Lucas making a real attempt to try and win the ball.
Well done.
He's not pulling out McLean after the referee showing him a yellow card for one of those challenges earlier in the half, is he? It's the only way he knows how to play.
That's what you want your centre halves doing.
Absolutely.
Taking responsibility.
Here's McDade again. All of a sudden a spring in the step in towards O'Neill. It's not the best of clearances. We might not go out of play. It'll stick in the puddle. Gallagher puts it in towards McDade again, and he just tries to glance the header down.
His chance.
Hits the defender last, Scott. I think it's a corner.
Good delivery by Gallagher there, and Robbie would have fancied his chances.
Yeah, we're just getting a look at the goal again here, Scotty, and there's that weight of that pass.
It's a great finish. Well, that's it. Get him the service, and he will put them away.
21 goals last season. He's got his first of the new term. 1 minute of added time. Bigger Romana with the corner, and
there's the difference in the delivery, Joe.
Donnelly arriving, and he'll be disappointed, Donnelly. I think he'll maybe think he should have hit the target.
Yeah, it was a great delivery, and he just needed to get his, a wee glance on that.
But you're even looking at the last 3 or 4 minutes, Scott, and the body language even from Donnelly, because of his involvement in the goal. He's played a pass that's led to the opener. There's a spring in the step all of a sudden.
Confidence comes out. Paddy McLean puts a good tackle in that you were kind of laughing at. Then he gets his head on one. Then we play a nice pass from Sean and Clucas up to McDade, and then we create an opportunity getting a corner kick. A goal in football, does wonders, and it's obviously settled a few players. And I'm hoping that in the second half that they can kick on.
Well, there's the half-time whistle, and a game that was kind of drifting has been brought to life by Robbie McDade. He's given Glentoran the advantage here at half-time. Lovely little pass through by Donnelly. It was the first time the front two have really been able to link up, or two of the front three, I should say. O'Neill hasn't really got himself into the game as yet, and the game was kind of just drifting along, and then all of a sudden, one moment of brilliance from Donnelly, who found McDaid, and we know how dangerous McDaid is after watching him all of last season, but in particular in that semi-final and final of the Irish Cup, and yet again he pops up when it matters. Brilliant finish from him. Glentoran have the advantage. We'll be back, Scott Young and myself, for the second half. Well, welcome back to the Oval, where HB Tórshavn have made one change at half-time. Petter Pettersson is off, and they've introduced Adrian Justinussen, who, Scott Young, has scored 9 goals in 6 games, and they had to do something, didn't they?
9 goals, 6 games. So, yeah, so I think they do, because I think that, you know, Tórshavn manager will be disappointed to be a goal behind. He will look to Glentoran and say they haven't, you know, overly tested us. So they'll be disappointed. So he knows that, you know, he has to go for it, but he obviously thinks as well, Joe, that they will get opportunities in the second half.
Well, Glentoran lead by 1-0, the 50th European goal in the club's history scored here at the Oval. And Robbie McDaid, no surprise, the man to score it. Lovely little pass to him from Rory Donnelly. And McDaid, 1 chance, 1 goal. Man who scored the cup final winner. Has he scored the winner this evening? Well, we shall find out over the course of the next 45 minutes. We're streaming not only this game tonight, but also, in case you're looking for it, and you're saying, why am I listening to these two from the Oval? I'm looking for Coleraine. Well, the game at the Coleraine Showgrounds also being streamed on the website this evening. So if that's your preference, then you can go and join Thomas Kane and Liam Beckett. Scott Young sitting alongside me here, of course, the man who was manager the last time Glentoran won a European tie back in 2011 against FK Renova from North Macedonia, as it now is. The ball into the box, and that needed some defending by Wardham, and it's behind, and it's an early corner at the start of the second period for Glentoran.
Rory done well there, Joe. You know, go back to McDaid's finish. It was you know, Gary Hamilton-esque, his composure, and you know, we could do a Gary Hamilton type player at the Oval again. There wasn't many Gary Hamiltons.
Well, Glenavon do have a Gary Hamilton type player, but he's just a bit slower than he was all those years ago. Biggie Romana, it's a poor corner, easily cleared away. It's been a it's been a theme, hasn't it?
You know, like the player we just mentioned there, Gary Hamilton. I used to go, Gary, why are you taking corner kicks? But see, 9 times out of 10, the delivery, Joe, was unbelievable. And he just used to go, that's why I take him, Scott. And we've had...
It's a good ball. McDaid wins the header. Donnelly making a nuisance of himself and forcing the defender to concede another corner.
4 set pieces for Tórshavn, poor. 1 for Glentoran, poor. And hopefully this will be a... Sorry, Birringham's corner kick in the first half was a good delivery. Hopefully he can produce the same here. But when you get in situations like this, Joe, especially because of the conditions and the wind, you need to make these count. Get it in the right area.
Can he do better this time? Deeper ball. The goalkeeper decides to punch it down towards the penalty spot. Luckily for him, nobody in a Glentoran shirt in that vicinity. At least it asked a question that time.
It did.
Clucas.
Oh.
Terrible pass.
Again, how much of that is the conditions, the wind, and how much of that is just, that's a bad pass?
Hasn't played a lot of games, Clucas.
Yeah, that's...
It's only his 3rd Glentoran appearance, and he arrived here in, what, January? Tshembe using his considerable frame to win the ball back, and then that's a foul. Tshembe trying to do things quickly. Hansen. Jakobsen should keep this in. It's been a pattern, hasn't it, with Tórshavn through midfield trying to pass their way through, but just they've got themselves on the edge of the penalty area. It hasn't really worked out for them, although Clucas has gifted them possession, and the referee will pull this back, I think, for a foul. So this is in a very dangerous area. But again, it's cheap possession lost, isn't it? This causes the problem.
This started with Shannon's bad pass, which led to a throw-in for Tórshavn, and they've built the play and got themselves to a situation where they're just outside the box. And
well, Dale Coling will want to get a good look at this. The substitute fancies it, doesn't he?
Oh, this is a chance.
Justinussen.
That's the thing, Joe. I mean, maybe we need to check in the monitor again, but it looked a cheap one to give away. in a really dangerous position.
He was the one that had the shot when the ball broke to him. Now they've called it back again. He's going to get a second go with a free kick. Good save by Coling. First time he's been asked to do anything, and he gets himself down low and punches it away. Good distance, and it goes out for a throw-in.
Really good save. He was down quick for such a big man. He was down really quick, but you know, we can't be giving too many free kicks away like that in dangerous areas.
It was his side, to be fair, but still with all, it's pretty close to him actually when you see the replay.
Yep.
When you haven't had anything to do and it's your debut and you're 1-0 up in Europe, still happy to get it away and
well, you know,
get yourself involved in the game if nothing else.
Yeah, of course, but you know, Colleen and the back four, they know they do their jobs, they get a clean sheet. We're through to the next round. You know, and they won't care how they get there, Joe. They just have to try and get over the line. But you know, Tórshavn are dangerous, and if you give them opportunities, they can. I think they could hurt.
It's HB Tórshavn's 16th European tie, Scott. Of the previous 15, they've won just one. It was 6 years ago, 6-3 against Lincoln Red Imps on aggregate in the Champions League. And Dale Coling was an unused substitute goalkeeper in both of the games. He was playing for the Red Imps at the time, but on this occasion he made a smart save to make sure that Tórshavn didn't have any joy, and he'd be hoping that continues. But it's a warning for Glentoran.
It is a warning, and they would have been saying the same about Glentoran going into the game. Glentoran hasn't been in Europe for 5 years. The last European win was blah blah blah, but they would have looked at the other Irish League teams, how well Linfield and Crusaders and that have done. Here's
McDade again. Little layoff. He tried to find Clucas.
Yes.
Well, this might be half a chance here for Paul O'Neill, and the goalkeeper dropped it the first time, and just the first touch, I think it was the unexpected nature of it for O'Neill. Caught him by surprise, caught everybody by surprise, the fact that it found him, and all of a sudden the ball bounced away from him. You thought the goalkeeper was then going to gather it, and then he lost it. That's not a great header at all. This could lead to a chance for the visitors, and again it's another little warning. He's given the corner, the referee, but Jakobsen, I don't think he could believe his luck initially when the defensive header found its way to him, and then he did have the option of playing it wide to Justinason, but decided to take it himself, and Jakobsen just dragging his shot wide of the post.
It's another wee warning. The weather's playing havoc. You know, Keith Cowan is remonstrating there. He doesn't know what way it's going, and he misjudged his header because of the conditions. But another corner kick for Tórshavn.
Will it beat the man at the near post? Well, they've varied it this time. That's another waste. They really have wasted all of those corners, haven't they? The 3 or 4 maybe in the first half. There's another one. You're all for seeing things maybe a little different, something off the training ground, but
has the wind changed? I mean, that's 2 kicks from Tórshavn goalkeeper, and
yeah, Getson, he's just basically kicked at the full length of the pitch. So it's coming from the airport, Scott. Is that what we're saying? From the Sydenham end?
It's coming from somewhere, Joe. It's not.
Here's Dahl. Meant from that end of the ground, not necessarily just from the airport. Dahl again. Just the bounce of the ball just caused a little bit of a problem there, and it's good awareness from McLean.
Yeah,
the goalkeeper did slide out, but McLean decided, I'll take charge of this. This is not a done deal for Glentoran by any stretch of the imagination.
It is not. It is not. We made a bright start enough, getting a corner kick early doors, but since then it has been all Tórshavn, and giving a corner kick away, dangerous free kick from 20 yards out, and can't be given too many opportunities away like that.
Bigirimani towards the back post, and O'Neill just can't quite get there.
He's unlucky there. The conditions, but the vision, to spot the run of Paul O'Neill, that's what we're looking for.
He could be back to one of his former clubs, couldn't he, Gail Bigirimana?
Yep.
Motherwell, one of those teams in Scotland that he played for. Scott was mentioning it earlier. Hibernian, another
team we failed to mention, Joe, who graced the Oval, Juventus.
Yes, another one of those great nights. The great Dino Zoff was the goalkeeper that night.
Yeah.
Johnny Jemison rattled the crossbar. The Glens narrowly lost 1-0. It was 1977, I think it was.
Yeah.
They were on the way to the semi-final of the European Cup.
The Glen men talk about two things there: Rab's tackle on Gentili and Warren Feeney missing the penalty.
Yeah, I wasn't going to mention Warren Feeney missing a penalty in case I bump into him anytime soon. I know his son might be listening to us in Bulgaria. I'm sure he'll not tell him.
Yeah.
But no, that was another one of those great. Trapattoni was the manager that night of Juventus, I think.
It was basically
the goalkeeper's punched it down and it's cleared off the line. Sort of pinball inside the penalty area. Hit Donnelly. Looked as if it might creep inside the post. The danger was cleared. Again, it's the difference between a good delivery from a set piece.
You just said it, Joe. You know, it's the delivery caused the panic in the Tórshavn back four. Or sorry, defence. But yeah, I mean that Juventus team was basically the Italian national team.
There's the corner. Just the goalkeeper. He's stretching for it. Just see it bounces off the Glentoran, but it actually bounces off the Tórshavn defender Wardham, and the captain Davidson. He is wide awake on the post and has to clear the danger.
Better from Glentoran, but asking questions. You see
that looked like a handball from this sort of distance.
The tackle
again. You see, it's the force, and that European referees. And if you go in, no matter if you win the ball, that level of force is always going to result in a yellow card.
Yeah, but
that's the difference.
That sort of tackle, Joe.
That's a great tackle.
As players, you know when it's a good tackle,
but on a Saturday afternoon, an Irish League game,
Irish League, that's not booking an Irish
fans
League.
Want to see that sort of a tackle. The question is, maybe in the new season, might it become a booking? The goalkeeper's way off limits. Obviously, the defender didn't know he was right behind him. So, a bit of an inquest into did he give a shout or not. Caelan Marin was the defender. He says, I didn't hear anything.
Yeah, well, I know it's Paddy's, he was screaming at him, so maybe Colleen did make the shout and Caelan just never heard him.
It's a lovely little turn by Dahl. Still going, Dahl. Might get a second go at it. Oh! Hit the outside of the netting.
Thought I was in.
So did the Faroese supporters, a sprinkling of them, sitting beside us.
That's too many warnings now.
If they wanted a chance to fall to anybody, it would be to that man as well. Miguel Dahl.
That was a great opportunity. 7
goals in 5 games. Scored a hat-trick in the last game. He just when it bounced back to him, look at that, just tries to caress it into the corner. And it's the outside of the netting. But that's 2 or 3 little reminders to Glentoran just since the break that this game is far from over. Kane inadvertently gives it to Dahl once more. Kane's back to tidy things up. O'Neill trying to get the free kick. Back up again, wins possession. Did well, O'Neill there. Was under pressure. That looked like a push on McDaid.
Yes. It wasn't. The referee wasn't going to give it, first of all.
I'd say the assistant maybe in this side maybe had a word with him and said, I think you need to blow your whistle.
And this is just...
He would have had a good view of it, the assistant, to be fair to him. So
just be clever here and, take this thing out of the game. Tórshavn's been in top the last 5. Just get our bearings, take this thing out of it. Can we get a couple of passes in and get back into the game?
Donnelly's on this near side. He got up early. Kept it in. There's the splashing in the puddles again. If you weren't with us in the first half, there's a bit of a feature. You can see in that corner and on the same side of the pitch at the other end. Oh, that's a late one. Now, Mick McDermott's absolutely furious. The referee's got a yellow card in his hand. Klukas on the receiving end. Hansen is the player I think who's going to be booked. And we're going to get another look hopefully at this one because
it looks as if his studs were definitely raised.
Keith Cowan is, here we go, Scott. So Klukas is going in and not sure.
No, I can't see from my angle. Maybe the referee has called it right then.
Hard to know. You don't look at it first time and immediately say absolutely nailed on red card, so I don't think we've any conclusive evidence.
You just look for any advantage. So when you see
but it's a free kick, which is the most important thing.
oh yeah,
and
a good area.
Yeah, Hansen's now on a yellow card. I think that's the 4th of the game. Told you his average was in around 6.
But again, the angle here from Marcus.
Lucas is okay, actually. He stayed on. Kane, it's not a good delivery. It's a waste. Well retrieved by Gallagher. You looking a right-footed player to take that out, Scott?
Yep. The viewers are not being overindulged in quality, but we need to be fair to the players as well, because the conditions are terrible. They're terrible. But when you get opportunities like that, you're just looking a wee bit of composure and get the ball into the right area and ask questions.
There's another change coming here for HB Tórshavn. Taking the skipper off, who's the defender, and Rene Johansson, who I'm led to believe is a midfield player, is going to come on. So
Captain,
do we see a change here? Will they change the shape of the team? Will they go 3 at the back? Be interesting to have a look and see what happens. Or will Johansson just go and play it right back? He's jogging to that side of the pitch, is he?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're not going to change things too much as yet. But as the moments tick by, they're going to have to be slightly more adventurous. Although you would point to the fact that they've carved out 2 or 3 chances so far at the start of the second half, so they'll not be panicking too much, Scott. They'll be aware of the fact that they have had the better of the chances at the start of the second half. Half-time in the Korean game, by the way, it's 0-0.
Right. I think, Joe, that they will also look at it to go, because they are well into their season, that they will fancy themselves the last 20 minutes, that their fitness will be better than Glentoran's. That's nice.
Yep. Biggie Romana is comfortable on the ball. O'Neill fighting for it again on this near side. Can't win possession on this occasion. He might get it back again, though. Nicked away from him by Justinison, the substitute. Wardham being chased by McDade. Donnelly can't quite nick the ball back over on that far side of the pitch. This is good from Tórshavn. Dahl switches it towards Johansson. First time cross from him should be the goalkeepers. And Colling, under no real pressure, is able to claim that one. Use up a few seconds.
Yeah, they're asking a few questions. I mean, I'm looking at the bench. You know, is this a situation where, you know, you bring on an Andy Mitchell and stick him up top and ask him to, you know, hold that ball up for us? Well done.
Yeah, good pressure from O'Neill again.
The Shannon players don't think it's a corner.
So he's... What's he... Oh, he's saying that... I think Glentoran are time wasting, does he already?
I was about to ask you, do we have VAR?
He's checking with the 4th official. No. I don't know what that was all about. I think he's trying to suggest... I think the problem was that nobody could quite believe that it was a corner. Another good delivery in towards the back post, and well met by Deshembe. Helped it on its way.
Gary Mana has shown in glimpses, Joe, that when he's up to full fitness, I think he could be a real asset.
Yeah.
You know, for Glentoran this season. We bit about him. You don't play with those clubs that he has played with and the level he's played at if you don't have, you know, something about you.
Should be the goalkeepers, and is. It's gone out. So that means it's a goal kick. McCulloch's coming on. Luke McCulloch just warming up down below us. Is he going to play in midfield or is he going to play in the back 4? Chatting to Mick McDermott during the week, and he was saying that during his last season across the water, McCulloch played a lot of his football kind of just in front of the back four as a midfield player. So is that where we're going to see him slot in here at the moment? Strange time to break up your two centre backs, wouldn't it?
I don't think he's going. No, I think you've hit the nail on the head. I think he's going to sit in front of the back four because Tórshavn is causing problems, and they maybe need that extra bit of security in there. So, you know, Luke McCulloch is one, Joe, that when he signed for the Glens, I was taken aback by the signing. You know, good pedigree in England, still a good age, was in the Northern Ireland squad at the Euros. Obviously he's had his time of injuries, but you know, if Glentoran can get him fit and in good shape, he could be a tremendous asset for Glentoran. He really could. And that's obviously, you know, what everybody connected with Glentoran is hoping for, that we can see, you know, Luke McCulloch, you know, produce his best here, because you know, he really could be a fantastic asset for the club.
Well, Marcus Kane is walking very gingerly towards that far touchline. It's just one of those awkward ones where he just fell and twisted maybe an ankle. Certainly wasn't a challenge really involved that I noticed. I think he'll be okay again, but they just delayed the substitution. Just, I think, maybe waiting to see what happens with Marcus Kane, make sure he's okay to continue. Luke McCulloch still waiting to make his Glentoran debut. Meanwhile, we're back underway to Shembe.
I mean, to be fair to Bigirimana and to Klukas in the middle of the park for Glentoran, they haven't had a lot of games, and you know, would you be surprised to see one of them come off? But then, you know, Bigirimana has looked the part the last 10 minutes.
Again, there's a stoppage, and again, it's a chance to make the change, and now they are going to do that. Klukas is coming off, and McCulloch will come on.
To be fair to him, you know, it's been a long time since he played, and
he just needs minutes, doesn't he?
He does, you know.
He was cup tied for those Irish Cup matches. It's only his third Glentoran appearance, but it's 67 minutes under his belt, and he even gets a hug from Paul Miller. He'll never want to be substituted again, will he?
No.
If that's what happens.
Hugs off Big Wendy.
Shembe winning another header. Christensen trying to get Tórshavn going again. There's going to be another yellow card, I think.
Get big for that. Can't do that in Europe.
Yeah. Stopping a promising attack in the views of the referee. Gallagher was cautioned. I do think that's number 5 in terms of the yellow cards. One thing you mentioned about the fitness, Scott.
Yep.
And the fact that they're well into their season, Tórshavn. The last thing Glentoran want in that set of circumstances is extra time.
No.
Here's Wardham. It's a pretty neat pass forward from Christensen. Dahl turning. Good block. He's given the foul. Oh, he's kicked the ball away. So there's another card. He can't wait to get that yellow card. I'm sure he can't.
He called it before the game.
Paul O'Neill.
The amount of cards that he's distributed this year.
Yeah, his first European game, and in case you missed it at the very start, I was telling you that in 11 games in 2020 up until this point, 64 yellow cards and 4 reds. That's 6 yellow cards already tonight, and we still have a quarter of the game to go.
Did you give a bonus to referees for how many cards they produce? But you know, that's a silly booking, you know, young Paul O'Neill.
You know what's coming though, don't you, to be fair?
You do, but you know, it's you know, there is no need for him to do that. And as the game goes on, and you know, God forbid, you know, there's a late challenge he puts in, or somebody puts in, and we're down to 10 men, and you know, this is where you got to stay focused.
Luke McCulloch in that midfield area. One of his 6 Northern Ireland caps actually came against the Faroe Islands in Belfast. And as you were saying, Scotty, he went to the Euros in that squad. Great hopes, and it's amazing how it changes, isn't it? Just injury and bad luck.
Yeah.
as you well know.
Yeah. And you just want to see, Luke needs games. By the way, Luke McCulloch, as well as a few others, they need 5 or 6 games. So it's unfair to judge on a performance tonight coming into this game. But I'm hoping and thinking that he will turn out to be a really good signing for Glentoran.
Can they improve their delivery from these set pieces? Tórshavn. Corners have been dreadful so far. That is a much better one. There was a header won by Dahl inside the penalty area. It hit one of his teammates just in front of the line. And Glentoran survive.
Bagheera Mana off the line. That's why you maybe, some people have people in the post, other people don't believe in it. There is maybe a reason why.
He sensed the danger and he was in the right place.
He did.
But again, it's the first decent ball they put into the box from all the corners they've had, and it causes problems.
Do you know what, Joe? It doesn't matter the level that is playing here tonight, as in, no matter who you're playing against, if the conditions are the way they are and you get a good delivery into the box, it's going to cause problems for any team. Any team.
Bigger Mana just happy to see the ball coming in his general direction.
Yep.
But
I've been impressed with his fitness, Joe, considering he hasn't played. He's done well. He's pressing. Again, his pressing there, led to that. Somebody who hasn't played for so long, played at a much higher level. You can see
another change coming here. O'Neill, having just been booked, he's going to go off, and Jamie McDonough is going to come on. New arrival from Derry City. Made 2 Europa League appearances for Derry 2 years ago against Dynamo Minsk, and he's going to get the last 19 minutes or so. He'll hope it's the last 19 minutes or so. Now, what's happened here is the referee.
Don't begin him. Don't.
So the referee has lost his red card, and the 4th official has sent a red card to the referee via Jamie McDonough.
You'd love Jamie to have done the. You'd love him to have done the Paul Gascoigne one against Hibs.
No, I'm not sure how much of a sense of humour this referee has.
Oh, Jamie would have been sent off.
It's lovely football from Tórshavn, getting themselves out of their own right back position into Glentoran territory. McDade's offside. The rain's back on again. Here it is, Jamie McDonough to the aid of the referee. There you go, ref. Just in case you need this between now and the end of the game. There's somebody taking the yellow card off him before the game started. Dahl, who's looked a real threat.
He has, his movement's been good.
He's done well again. He's away from Kane. Got his head up. Oh, he's picked the wrong pass totally. He actually looked up and knocked the ball into the one part of the penalty area where there wasn't a player in a white shirt. That's hit a Glentoran player's hand. That's harsh. And if your arm's out, it's you're running the risk. There's not a lot of distance between the players there, is there, when the cross is played into the box?
It's a real dangerous area.
He's lucky he wasn't inside the box. Yeah, you can see the arm is out, and he has maybe tried to make himself bigger. So, tell you what, if he's 2 yards or 1 yard further inside the penalty area, it's real trouble for Glentoran. But a bit of penalty, but luckily for them, it's a free kick that's been totally wasted by Justin Newson.
Another substitute for them.
Yeah.
Mikkelsen,
Mads Mikkelsen, another forward coming on.
Mads
Mikkelsen.
I keep repeating myself, but Askow, the Tórshavn coach, he knows there's an opportunity here.
Yep.
I do hope he's proven wrong, Joe.
I thought you might say that. I don't know, I just had a hunch. So, approaching the last 15 minutes, Robbie McDade's goal separates the sides. Glentoran hoping that their 50th European game at the Oval and their 50th European goal at the Oval will be enough to see them through to the next round, where they would play Motherwell in Scotland next week. But plenty of work still to be done. And that's a late one. It's been left on Bigurimana. Surprised that I haven't seen a yellow card for that one. The reason probably is that Hedden Hansen has already been booked. I'd say the referee's probably aware of that. And even though he's got his new shiny red card, he doesn't want to send anybody off at this stage. He's lucky, Hedden Hansen, on the basis of what we've seen players booked for so far.
Yep.
I think if he's not on a yellow card, I think he probably books him. We never know, Scott, eh?
No.
McCulloch gives it to Gallagher. Back again to Gallagher. They've worked that quite well, actually.
Yes.
Into the box he goes. Oh, McDaid tries to head it first time. Gallagher's down. Referee's already said he's not interested. When it falls to McDaid, just one thing in his mind. Wanted to get the shot away. He just couldn't make firm contact with the ball. Scott Young, the Glentoran supporter beside me, as opposed to Scott Young, the former Glentoran manager, by the way. That cry of yes. Your eyes at it, what you were imagining was another firm contact from McDaid and the ball nesting in the bottom corner and all the pressure relieved. But
yeah, because, you know, if I'm being really, really honest, apart from the goal, the Glens haven't showed much.
No, they haven't.
You know, and I don't want to be critical, but you know, they need to show a wee bit better here to try and get that second goal, because Tórshavn, every time they go forward, they do look as if something could happen. Without being clinical, Joe, you know, they haven't got to the byline and absolutely turned defenders in two, but you know, we can't.
We've had the one that went just past the post, the free kick that was well saved, and the one that was headed off the line.
But Dow's opportunity was the opportunity of the game, I think. You know, it was side net and it was a really good opportunity.
Here they come again. Kristinussen. Glentoran do well. It's brilliant from Caelan Marin. Can't find a pass though. Marin again. Clearing it's just coming back at Glentoran. That's the problem now, isn't it? Hansen.
So he's like a 4-5-1 now.
Glentoran get the free kick on this occasion.
Jamie done well there. Relieve a wee bit of pressure. Ball down the park.
They'll not be in a rush to take this, of course. And Coling explaining to the referee that he's not going to be rushed. There's another chance to see the goal. If you're just joining us, Rory Donnelly into McDaid. The old 1-2 means Glentoran lead 1-0. And it is the only time really in the match that we've seen those two link up. And it's the only real chance, you would say, that Robbie McDaid has had.
Oh. And it is the one real bit of quality that we have seen tonight. But you know, Joe, we would love to be talking about free-flowing football and, you know, what a fantastic game it was.
Doesn't matter if you get through and you get
exactly.
You get through and you get the check.
That's all that matters.
When you're going to the bank manager with that check, he doesn't say, well, did you string 25 passes together to get that goal that resulted in this extra money?
That's all that matters. I just hope Mike gets a little bit more money than I got.
Yes, that chance to rebuild that you thought you were going to get with that European money. Didn't take you too long to count the money that you got out of that check.
No, that was
different times.
Different times.
There were other pressing issues where that money maybe needed to go.
Yeah, it was different times. But you know, the game of football has moved on.
Oh, it's Piers who manages to win the ball back. Again, McDaid just making sure that it's not an easy clearance for Tshembe, and that's good at this stage of the game. Gets Glentoran a throw in, uses up maybe 30 seconds, keeps Tórshavn in their own half. Those are the runs and the bits of work that you have to do at this stage of the game, Scott. Maybe they're not seen, or they go unseen by many people, but that's exactly what the manager's looking for Robbie McDade and his other front players to do at that stage in the game. Do not allow Tórshavn to get out easily. Keep them in that half of the pitch as much as possible, whether it means, throw-ins, whatever it happens to be, free kicks. That's what maybe Donnelly should have done over on the far side, wasn't able to do. And here's that man, Dahl again, which finds the substitute, Justinussen. There's another one of the goal threats who's on the pitch at the minute. Christensen.
I mentioned Joe about the last 20 minutes.
That's another good ball by Christensen. Again, he tried to pick out Dahl, couldn't find him. And Wardham has to put the ball almost onto the roof.
A positive
of the stand on the far side. Sorry, Scott.
A positive for Joe. Patrick McLean has breezed through this game.
Again.
My opinion, could play at a higher level. It makes the game look easy at times.
He's only 23.
Yeah, but he's playing at a football club that have taken to him, and he's taken to the club.
But he plays in a way you can understand why supporters would warm to Paddy McLean in the way that he plays.
Oh,
he's as you say, he breezes through a game, but when it needs to be, it's all action. And then you have remember the acrobatic winner that he scored at Larne in the televised game on Friday Night Football, the overhead kick.
Yeah.
Central defenders that can provide that little bit of magic, that will provide the bit of steel that you want to see, that you look at him and it looks as if he cares. I know all players should care, but you know what I'm trying to say. Sometimes supporters will look at players and think they go through the motions. I don't think you'd ever accuse Paddy McLean of that.
No, I've often said that Glentoran at times have lacked leaders. This past while, when everybody goes back, Joe, to when I played. When I played at Glentoran with John Devine, absolute leader. But then, you went through the team and you'd call on Nixon, the Paul Lehmans, the Pete Beatties, the Chris Walkers, the Gary Smiths, the Mark Glendinneys. That was the era. It's different times now, so those players are few and far between. So when I see a player like McLean and he's getting at his fullbacks, he's getting at his goalkeeper, he's letting the front guys know, hold that ball up and what have you. It's great to see.
I was actually looking at some stats, for the likes of Paul Lehman and Elliot Morris and Colin Nixon, because just the off chance maybe that Elliot might have played tonight. But you were looking through, those three players, and you mentioned two of them, but Elliot obviously still playing. Between them at Glentoran, Elliot Morris, Colin Nixon and Paul Lehman, 2,132 appearances. It's phenomenal.
It's ridiculous. It's phenomenal. I mean, so
there's nobody really attacking that cross, but again, McDonough does well, puts it into a good area.
The Glentoran fans are getting a wee glimpse of Jamie McDonough. A wee bit of pace. He gets at players. The three players that you mentioned, Joe, three absolute legends of the football club. Legends. Cameron
Stewart's on. Rory Donnelly's off. Picked up that little injury on the far side. Hasn't been able to recover. Well, he might have been able to recover, but McDermott is saying it's not worth the risk.
Yep.
And if you're carrying a knock, let's just get you off. Fresh legs on.
It's a good substitution as well, because
7 minutes left, Scott. You don't take a chance with somebody who might be carrying an injury.
No. And Cameron, he's a big unit. You put Robbie to the left, he'll get up and down that line, he'll track back, stop their full-back getting forward.
And this is what Glentoran need to do now. They're just making it difficult for Tórshavn to pass their way out.
Make it difficult. And when it gets to Cameron Stewart, Cameron, hold that ball in, son. Just get his free kicks, bring people into play, take the sting out of it.
Make them go back to the goalkeeper as often as possible. Justinussen. It's back to Shembe. Here's Mikkelsen. Mikkelsen has an option to the right. He's given the ball to McDade instead. He was trying to play that pass that we could see, but he was able to see the pass, couldn't quite play it. Up towards Stewart, who's wrestling with the Shembe. Still has it, Stewart, and he got up and
that's it. That's it. Brilliant. That's what you want to see.
And it's a totally different type of last 10 minutes or so, including stoppage time for Tshembe, because he'll be asked totally different types of questions than he was being asked by Robbie McDade.
Yep. It's the physical aspect of it. He's probably thinking to himself, this big guy Cameron Stewart, he's not going to run him behind, he's not going to run away from me, but he's going to be physical, and listen, that would have been Paul and and Mick's instructions there, big man, get on there, hold that ball up for us, bring people into play, get his free kicks, and listen, his first contribution just on the pitch, fantastic.
Big Romana has placed the ball. The rain is now absolutely tipping it down. Big Romana has placed it. He goes, tried to go under the wall, then it bounces back to him. Second attempt with his left foot. Doesn't trouble anybody. Luke McCulloch gets a toe in. Johansson, he's given it away. Marin to McCulloch. Christensen. Glentoran so close now to that first European success since 2011.
Great tackle.
Great tackle from the skipper.
Need to be professional, be switched on.
Soon be that stage when we're looking at the fourth official. See how much out of time we'll have. Hoping it's not too much given the deterioration in the weather conditions. McCulloch reads the danger. Can't find another Glentoran player though. Goalkeeper again. Maybe could have given a shout for that one. McLean not taking any chances. Brilliant again from Cameron Stewart.
Excellent, excellent.
This could be trouble. Jakobsen, there's a little bit of space. McCulloch can't stop him. He's running through those puddles. And when they get inside the penalty area, you don't know where the ball's going to stop. And anybody making a challenge or sticking a leg out, the ball doesn't go where you imagine it to. And very easily you could be giving away a penalty kick in there. It's heart in the mouth stuff anytime the ball's in that part of the pitch. Lifted in by Wardham.
Seconds.
O'Dowd tries to knock it back. Oh, great block.
Great block.
It was Justinusson with the effort. It's well blocked, and again, it's the first time they've linked up, really, isn't it? Since Justinusson came on at half time. He and Dahl, the two danger men, but they're throwing everything at it now. Tórshavn, they have to. It's all or nothing in these closing stages for them. It's not a bad delivery. It's going to go out, or is the wind going to keep it in? I think it's going to go out eventually.
Conditions are horrendous.
Oh, desperate.
Horrendous. It's maybe a blessing, Joe, that the Glentoran fans are not in. Because they'd be a wee bit anxious.
There would be that sort of anxiousness around the place, that anxiety. Yeah.
You know, probably a few thousand watching it from the TV screens.
It's a great block that by Cowan, isn't it? Just seeing the replay. Bodies on the line. Stewart can't hang on to the ball on this occasion. Kane decided not to go and make the initial challenge. Up towards Stewart again, this time Deshembe is first to it. Glentoran just can't get the ball at the minute. No. Johansson, up goes McLean again. That's a loose one from Bigger Romana. And that's another free kick. He apologises to Bigger Romana, but just got to get your foot on it and keep it.
That's what you're looking for.
This is this sort of unknown distance, Scott. It's one of those ones where you could have a go from distance, or you could clip it towards the back post, depending on what you fancy. And you'd be disappointed if the defensive team, if you conceded a direct strike on goal from this sort of distance. I mean, he's at least 30 yards out here. As I was saying,
Clumps up beside us. Yeah, it's great. It's great to see him flying over there, but it was ambitious.
But especially when you've loaded out, there's 4 or 5 of them up, big lads, back post. Just clip it in there and see what happens. Put it into the mix.
Yeah. Glentoran just need to hang on here. Just hang on here. Can Cameron Stewart get us a couple of free kicks, hold the ball in, try and take the sting out of things?
Is it going to be a rare Glentoran victory in Europe? Oh, Cameron Stewart was almost in there. The last 50 games in Europe, Scott, 2 wins, 11 draws and 37 defeats. They're on the verge of going to face Stephen Robinson and his Motherwell team next week. in what would be their 100th game in European competition. Not over the line yet. Goalkeeper doesn't get there. Defender goes down. Everybody looks towards the referee for a free kick, and he gives the corner. I missed the fourth official's board. Has he been out yet? Here he comes now. You keep an eye on him, Scott. See what the magic number is. 4.
Don't want to see that.
No. 4 added minutes. We're into the first of those added minutes here at the Oval. Glentoran 1 up. Again, good defensive header out. Brilliant. Might have been Cameron Stewart actually back there who won that header, was it?
Do you know, Joe, Jamie McDonough's only been on the pitch a short space of time, but he's impressed me. He's impressed me. You know, he's got pace. He wants to get at people. He's got good feet. Again, someday, another new signing for Glentoran. More games he gets.
And it's another reason, just seeing the replay of Cameron Stewart with that header, it's another reason why, bringing him on maybe wasn't a bad idea.
Yeah,
it's not about holding the ball up necessarily, but, defending those set pieces, it's another centre half. Yeah, we played a lot of football there.
We said about bringing on him or Mitchell, but since that's not the worst ball.
Just for you can see now on your screen how bad the conditions are here. The wind, the rain, how the players would get through 30 minutes of extra time in these conditions, I don't know. How we would get through without being electrocuted, I don't know. But
you'll be alright, Joe, because it's me who's getting soaked.
Scotty's playing wide right in our seating arrangement. He's on the right wing, close to the deluge.
But listen, the performance-wise, it hasn't been great, but this would be a massive victory for the club. And
last season, Scott, we were so pleased, weren't we, when all 4 of our representatives from the Irish League got through at least one round in European competition.
Absolutely.
Linfield already have made progress this season. Glentoran making progress, and hopefully Coleraine can do the same. That game also being streamed. If you want to flick across when this one is over and join Thomas Keane and Liam Beckett for the game at the Coleraine Showgrounds. It started half an hour after this one, so you can watch the closing stages of that match. If this one finishes within the next 2 minutes, it's still 0-0 at Coleraine, still half an hour to go, so that one very much in the balance. So Caelan Marin concedes an unnecessary corner, and I really hope that's not costly.
Yeah, I didn't think he realised the time that he had. The goalkeeper's coming up.
Goalkeeper in the penalty area. Great header away at the near post by McDade. Goalkeeper thinking about jogging back. Now he is. Just making sure that they can't get the ball in the window. It's Cameron Stewart again, who's working hard over on that far side. He's trying to win his team a throw in. It's actually stayed in. Diving header from Pearce. Pearce for a handball against McDade. Referee had a good view of it, says no, play on. And McDade's on the charge again. It's good covering. It was really well tidied up, that, wasn't it?
It was.
Rennie Johansson, the substitute, took it away from McDade. Talking seconds now, not minutes. McDermott pacing up and down that technical area, asking the assistant referee to check his watch. Will do from Biggie Romana. Oh, brilliant from Stewart again.
He's done great since he's come on.
I think the message is take it to the corner. Oh, and then he's fouled. No, is he going to be booked for diving? Yes, he is. Or did he give a free kick? Has he? What's he given?
I think we've got the free kick.
Oh, I think he's got. Yes, he's given the free kick. Sorry. For a moment he's booked him for a dive.
Have to praise, Mick and, Cameron Stewart and McDonough, especially. 2 substitutions. Brilliant.
We won't have time for the free kick because Glentoran are through. 1 goal from Robbie McDade was enough. And what a finish it was. The one real moment of quality in the match when Donnelly lifted it through to McDade. First time effort, fired it past the goalkeeper. Hero in the cup final, hero again tonight in Europe.